Hi there, I'm Linda V. Taylor, and this is Best of Both Worlds. Salagadoola, Micha Kabula, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. Stay tuned. We are working on this wonderful quilt that was made by Vanette Jensen and her daughter Stormy, and I think a little bit of her granddaughter. And it's just beautiful. This kind of a quilt can scare a quilter because we're not sure what to do with it. So I decided just to put all my creative juices to work, and I hope that helps you when you get a quilt that's a little bit, you're maybe a little frightened to start on it. I've been working on this darling quilt, and I think it's probably a quilt that could scare anyone. I've taken some time thinking about it, but I want to show you what I have been doing. I've been stitching in the ditch around the sashing that's around the embroidered piece, and then between here. And I'm going to treat these three borders as one. There's a little extra fullness in them, but I think I can gather that all in with the nice heavy quilting that I'm going to do. So I want to show you what I'm going to put in there. I've already done it at the top, and I'm down to the bottom now. I will go up here to draw boundary, and then I will click around the edges of the quilt. I know I'm coming up a lot further than I need to. It was pretty straight when I stabilized it, so I'm pretty confident about that. So there's my boundaries. If you look on the computer, you can see the red that I have already stitched. I'm just going to move this up a little bit more. I combined 3 patterns, actually, to do that. And I will show you what they are. I took a corner pattern, which is this one. And we will just tell it to rotate. There we go. This one is $22.49. It's in the Halloween patterns that I have. I was so excited to be able to use them. And I will make that bigger. Move this over so you can see. Whoops. Let's move it into the corner. I'm looking at the edges here and the edges here. I'm going to make sure that it doesn't go over the edge. I have that 1/4 inch at least. And I'm not worried about a little curl going off the edge at all. There we go. So now that I have that corner, I am going to rubber stamp it and highlight it, and we will flip it horizontally. There we go. And see how it fits over here in this corner. And I'm pretty happy with that. Now the next thing I did was I took a triangle pattern that has, and it's right here. And let's flip this one vertically. I always have to think about it. Let's flip it vertically. I'm going to put it right next to that. And we're going to go ahead and make it larger. So I want these handles. Just make it larger like this. And I want 3 of these along here. So I will rubber stamp that. Put that one right there. And that one right there. We can get rid of that. So I'm going to combine those patterns, and I'm also going to bring them out so that it's over here with the pumpkin, and get them exactly the way I want them, like that. Now I'm going to bring in a spider web. And I think this just fits right in here. I'm going to just shrink it a little bit. And I'm not worried at all if it goes over on top of the pumpkins a little bit, or the little curlies. You see these little curlies? I'm not worried about those. What I do want is this nice edge that comes over like that. And that looks like about the right size. And I know on the top, if we look at the top, you can see it didn't come all the way down to the bottom. I just left it a little ways from the bottom, and so that worked out great. So now all I have to do is rubber stamp that one, and I should be able to put that. I'll place them each individually and fuss with them a little bit, but that's where they all need to be. And we can get rid of that last one. So there's my border, and I definitely want to go in and set my order. There's my order right up there, and you can see it's like way out of order because I want this to sew across with this color thread, and then I will change the thread and it will come back and do each of those cobwebs, and then I have to hit set order again so it will save it. And then I'm ready to sew that border. I did not connect these in any way because I'm sitting here and they can sew individually if they want to. I'm ready to push the button, no problem. This is a good heavy quilting to take any extra fullness in. Anytime you add extra borders, like 2, 3, 4 borders on, oftentimes you get just a little extra fullness, and a little heavier quilting is going to handle that, and making sure that everything kind of stays parallel and perpendicular to where it needs to be. And then it's easy to work in as you're quilting. So it will never ever show when you're finished. I'm also using a thicker batting on this one. It is a Hobbs batting, and this one's called Linda's Choice because it does have the scrim on it, and it is the heavier batting. The reason I'm doing that is because she has a piece of back that has some dark fabric and some lighter fabric in it, and I didn't want those variations to show through on the embroidered parts. There's so much work into the embroidery and the coloring of the little witches that I wanted that to remain nice and white under there and not have any differences when you're looking at it. I'm sure it will be a wall hanging, and so that's going to be really, really fun to see that hanging up on the wall. This is the little black sashing that's going around it, and I'm so excited about it because I've taken this little pumpkin corner again, which you saw before. We did this in the border, and I'm going to put that this time in the sashing. It's going to be so cute and so tiny, but I wanted a little bit more than that. But I didn't want all of this. I just want these little corners to be so cute. And so what I did was I thought maybe a little pumpkin, a big one, and then a little one. So I just have to go into the nodes and make this bigger. And it looks like it'd be real easy to separate right here. So let's get that really big. And if I put this on nodes, and then I hover over this little pink square here and put divide, can see it divided it there for me. Let's get that snap off. We don't want that on. There we go. Now we've got the two divided there, and I think it connects right here as well. If I just move that over, I can see that. Yes, it does. So if I divide this one just by pushing the D, and I want to get rid of everything that's up there, so I can just delete that, and then put nodes on again, and right here I want that to divide, and if I click on that, I can see that that's what I want to get rid of, and then I can come back to my nodes and move this back over, and kind of connect it there. And then this one down here, I think I will just divide this again and get rid of that little bit. And then if I go into nodes one more time, I can move that one up. There we go. And then I'll make that get smaller again and combine those. And I'm going to make this even smaller, and I will flip it vertically. There we go. And of course it has to be smaller. So I'll get it in here and see. We'll make this bigger. You don't have to work tiny, you can make it bigger. But it will so tiny because it's going to be tiny in there. Like that. Perfect, exactly what I wanted. Now I need to rubber stamp this. Let's put one out here. And let's rotate it. There we go. And move it up here. Move this down. There we go, and we can connect those right there. So that's the corner that I'm going to do. And then in the middle of this, and of course I can just take this corner, combine it, and move it over here. We'll just put it from the center, we'll just move it into place. And then I can go back with my details and work on that. Now in the middle here, I am going to put the, just the triangle again. And I am going to flip it vertically. Move it right in the middle, and it's going to be a lot tinier than it is now. Now she had told me many of the things that she would like written on the quilt. So if I want to put some text in here, I will simply click here where I want it to go, put draw text, and then I can put one of the cute little sayings that she has, like "Eye of Grandmother's Watch." We'll go over here and click right there. And I'll put OK, and then I'm careful now to always go in and combine those patterns so that I can treat it as one. And then I just move that over, and then I can adjust that however I want to adjust it. Actually, I think this I like better like that. There we go. So there we have it. Then I'll put one over here and then put all the sayings that she wanted on her quilt in those sashings. Okay, so one of the things that we have to do is, of course, go around all of this embroidery. And I'm not doing a lot on the embroidery, a little bit, but not very much. I am just going around them, and because the work is wonderful, and I'm just going to leave it there. Now I just went down and got my thread, and now I can put my applique helper on right there, and that allows my left hand to be completely flat. So it can be a really good helper without straining my hands. You can see I just stay really, really close to that embroidery. How detailed you want that to be will be up to you. Come up into this area here, back down. Now the other thing I'm going to do, because I have done the peacock meandering across the bottom. I love that for the bottom. Makes it almost look cobbly stone, but it's a little bit more quilt-like, I think, a little bit fancier. So I've gone around all of the bottom there. And so now I can come back and I'm going to make sure that the ground is going to match. And I match the objects that are there, like, you know, she's sitting there. That foot is off the floor, so I don't have to have it come into that. And I'll get it back down to a little bit lower right there. So now that ground just kind of came up and went over. At first I thought to myself, oh, I need to have that absolutely level, but you know what? Grounds aren't level. So that actually worked really well. Before I put my belts back on, I have the belts off because I've been going around all of the embroidery. I am going to do this top part. It says Snack and Brew. That is so cute. But whenever I see something that comes down like this, in my mind I see hearts. So I'm going to do hearts across the top. This is not the only time I'm going to go across here. I could actually do dimensional hearts, which I do a lot. But this time I'm going to come in and then I'm going to do a little teardrop just in the middle of the heart. Just kind of decorating it. Every other one, a teardrop. I just have ideas that come to me as I'm working on the quilt, and I bet you do too. There we go. I like the top of that. Rather than going around all the zigzag part, I am just going to just go barely on the inside of this with my straight ruler. Much easier, but it will certainly nail it down, and that actually makes that little zigzag part kind of like a ruffle and makes it stand out even more. So I really like that. The thread I'm using is so fine, and I'm doing that just because I don't want to take away from anything on this embroidery. And I matched the background again because they've just done so much work on this. If it were my quilt, I probably would have used some colored thread, but not on this. I like that. Very good. I'm in my draw boundary. There we go. And now I am going to go around all this area that I have that is blank. So all the way across. And this is the only square that I had quite a bit of area left over here. On all of them there was some, but this one has a lot. And I'm going to just see how I just go around with my finger, just so I know where all the blank area is that I might have to put some stuff in. And I can do the smaller areas later. There we go. So now I can look up there at the screen and I can see where I need to put Bibbidi Bobbidi Bazaar. I think this is the bazaar. And to do that, I'll exit out of my drawing here. We'll just do it in this area right here and make it large here. There we go. This is my Bibbidi Bobbidi Bazaar. I'll put it right there. Lost my... Sometimes I lose my outline, so I just go back up to Edit and Undo. So I'm going to make this as big as I can get it because it'll take up a lot of quilting, and I actually really like it. I have a lot of quilt groups that I've been working with. There's a cute little bat. And I have a bat that hangs upside down, actually. But there was another bat that I was looking for. That's the Hocus Pocus shop. There we go. There's the bat. So I'm going to copy that and then go back into the quilt group where I have my outline. And I'll put that bat right here, paste. And then I can make it smaller. And I lost my outline again. Let me go in and undo that. Okay, let's make this a little smaller. See if he'll fit in there. Oh, yes, he does. Maybe we'll even turn him just a little bit. He's not exactly flying straight, so there we go. And this one I can get rid of because I'm not using that one. So I have Bibbidi Bobbidi Bazaar. And then I want to bring in, I was thinking maybe this tree would work. I can take the rest of this off. It's really a cute design. But you can separate everything. There's the little bat right there that I separated by doing the nodes. There's another bat here. He's cute. Maybe I'll use him. There's one hanging upside down that I have used on some of the other things too. So I'm not sure I'll need all of these, and the Happy Halloween I've taken off too. So I need to separate these things and just have the tree and see if it's going to fit somewhat in here. I think it will if I take off all the other things. So I'm going to work on that with the nodes. We still have our 3 bats. We still have some of these gravestones, but I don't know what is going to fit in this area. So let's make it bigger and see what we can do. If we take this up and over, I don't want to distort it too badly, but you know, it's a tree. Using my gray handles, I can really fill up this space and move that right up into there. And I'm not really concerned about, I don't want to lose this bat that's here. So maybe I will move him down. Make sure he's not in those letters. And then I can take some more roots off over here. I like that. That's going to fill up all that area. So let's go ahead and sew some of this, and I will work on this tree a little bit more and getting rid of some of the roots. Okay, I have my Bibbidi Bobbidi Bazaar. I have my little bat there, which I really like. And I've got 3 more bats here in the tree, and I got the tree all inside of the outline. I also have a little ghost here, and I'm going to flip him horizontally and make him a little bit smaller. Let's just make him a little bit smaller and bring him over here. I think a ghost in here would be great. It's just a quilt that, you know, I'm not going to do stippling around everything. I just want the areas filled in pretty well. Yeah, there we have a ghost, a bat, a tree with grave headstones. So let's quilt that much and see how we're doing. this. It's the areas are filled in well enough, I think. I can see the little bats hanging here. And there's also a face on the tree, actually. I elongated a little bit, but when it's shorter, you can really see that face on the tree. And then I have some threads to cut in between my letters, but bibbidi bobbidi bizarre. So let's put some more things on here. I think we just keep filling it up in some of the blank spaces. Although we're not going to fill up every space, we're going to put plenty of quilting on it. So on the other side, I'll go to the computer. I think I want a nice cobweb up here in this corner and a pumpkin down here. There's a lot of pumpkins. So I think I'll put a pumpkin down here. I had so much fun with these patterns. Most of them are 2249, Linda Taylor's patterns, Halloween. One of them is 124. I used this pumpkin, which is right there. But most of these, if you bring them in as a pattern, let's grab this one and bring it in. You can see I had some pumpkins I could use. I had the cobweb. I had the cat, which I just did the nodes and separated it, and other cobwebs. So I thought the cobwebs in the corners were really a good idea. And we've already talked about the tree, but you'll see on another square that I took this Happy Halloween completely out and used it separately, and you saw how I used the tree. So you can use, by separating these. I've also used this pumpkin wreath, and I put some initials in it for my customer. Just some really fun things. I've used this bat up here too. And so you could separate those things. And the witch, I used the witch. She's also going to the shop hop. So you'll see that on the first one that I did. But let's go back to our quilt group here. Let's see, I was looking for a pumpkin in one of these other groups that I used. A pumpkin, that's the Hocus Pocus shop hop. I just kind of named these different things so that I could come back and see what I've done and use some of those patterns. This, I'm going to copy this. There's the pumpkin I think that I want to use. And so we will paste that one right here. And then we're going to put it right there. Have to make it a little smaller all over first. Kind of move it down, and then we can kind of work on it to make sure it's in where it needs to be. So now let's put, I like this one with the spider. Let's go ahead and flip this horizontally and see how well that fits, because we can certainly make it fit exactly where it needs to be. One of the things that I did in one of the other squares was I actually put a feather on the bottom of this, just because, this is a quilt too. So why not, let's just have some quilting designs everywhere that we can. Okay, I'm in constant now, and my pumpkin didn't quite touch my stitching down here, so I am going to just come back and make some leaves. And they also have those little squiggly things all over. So I'm filling this in with leaves. I could also have just filled in more of the peacock meandering, but I think the leaves are kind of cool. That pumpkin is touching the ground now. I sort of have a blank area right up here, and I've got my machine right there where I want it. I'm going to hang this cute little bat right there. He can hang from the top of the square, the rectangle, and so let's sew him right there. He has little feet that are kind of hanging on there. Oh, he's perfect there. I made him a little fatter too. We need a nice bat on here. I have just moved one of my patterns from my Magic Carpet collection over here on top of this snack and brew. I know there's a snack and brew there. I just want a little bit more quilting patterns, a little fancier, not so much all Halloween. So I'm just going to sew that there, and then I will finish this square with some freehand. I'm going to add a feather, freehand feather. I have dropped my belts now, and I'm adding a freehand feather on the edge of this cobweb. How fun is that? And I want these to be kind of uneven. I don't want them all the same size. Some are going to be bigger. And fill in some of that space. Clear over to the witch there. There we go. Look at that. And then, of course, I have to get smaller now because I have to go through this little area here. This feather is so versatile that way. And then continue it here on the other side. And I love that quilting design there. I think that that really adds to the whole thing. Let's fill in some of this area here. There we go. And I also want to add a little spider. You just sort of make an oblong shape like that, and I'm making, spiders have 8 legs. So I'm making the legs, and I'm going to come across with a little mouth and a couple of little eyes. Hopefully we don't really see eyes on spiders, but this one is cute because it is on this darling, darling quilt. What a pleasure it has been to work on this. So let's take a look at all these areas. Oh, I did want to show you just my the pattern that I used for the ground, which is just my peacock meandering. And it was a pattern, not, it's one that's statlerized, but you can also do that freehand. Many of you know how to do that freehand. I just wanted to show you this pattern. It is simply my peacock meandering. And I did this was just for one of the grounds, but we sort of made them fit because they weren't all the same width. And then it was so easy to go in and just echo and add some extras here and there to make that ground perfect. But wow, it turned out awesome. So I wanted you to see that. I put a little cat here because there were a lot of cats on this particular panel. Just a quilting design. I want those quilting designs in there because it's a quilt. And lots of cobwebs across the top. This is so cute. It is just adorable. Here's the spider that came in, was part of the pattern that I broke off. It looks like a black widow is what it is. So I had it drop in there. A little bat hanging off the College of Magic. And this is also where I put the Happy Halloween. And I love this W has the bat in it. So that's awesome. And that cute little bat. This Beware, all of these I broke off from the other, the big pattern. Which that big pattern, those 2 squares can make wonderful tote bags for Halloween. Candy bags. This one is the Hocus Pocus Shop Hop, is what I named it. although I took that off one of the bags that one of these little witches has. There's little ghosts, spiders. I put some of their initials in there, although it's like shop hop. But this is the pumpkin wreath. And then I just filled in, as you can see, with little ghosts and little spiders. They are all headed to the shop hop, including the witch on the broom. And again, she's from one of the patterns as well. And then the cat on the side and another cobweb with a spider. Can't have too many of those. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you got some ideas. I'm so stoked about this quilt that I just can't wait to finish it. I really appreciate you watching. And check out some of my patterns. I think those Halloween patterns turned out really well, didn't they? Thanks again for watching. See you next time.